Hello guys, welcome to my channel. It has been a hard year for each one of us. This is Anurag Kannur. So, I would like to deal with the need portions of biology. The most important aspect for the preparation of NEET in biology is what you must not read in NCERT rather than knowing what to read. Because most of the students, when you go through NCERT, you feel it hard. You don't understand what to be read and what to be left. So, I'll help you to go through it. So, let's start with the first lesson of first year. Since the second year portions might be cut down, but it is not official yet, so instead of risking ourselves, we'll go with the first year, first chapter, that is the living world. So, what is the living world? Generally, the things, the plants, all the living things surrounding you constitute the living world. There must be some definite characters you might say to term them as living organisms. So, in your textbooks, they have described five characters possessed by living organisms. You know that living organisms grow, reproduce, they show metabolism, they have cellular organization, and consciousness. These are the five characters that have been described in your textbook. So, out of these, only three are defining characters, and the other two are just characters. Because there might be some exceptions, or if non-living things too have those characters, they will be just characters. If there is no exception and they are specific to living organisms, then they are termed as defining characters. So, what are the characters? Growth and reproduction are just characters, whereas defining characters are metabolism, cellular organization, and consciousness. So, let us study one by one. Growth. What is growth? Increase in mass and increase in number of individuals is called as growth. There are two increases given in your textbook, that is mass and number of individuals. It's termed as growth. In most of the higher plants and animals, growth and reproduction are exclusively mutual events. They don't occur synonymously. Increase in body mass is also called as growth, and there are few exceptions. Mountains, boulders, and mounds show growth. These are the non-living things which show the growth. That is why you can't term growth as defining character, because even non-living things possess the same characters. But all living things show growth. But even non-living things shows it. That is why you can't term it as defining character. Next comes reproduction. What does reproduction? You know that giving rise to young ones of same progeny by sexual or asexual reproduction. In our textbook, they have mentioned few organisms and the way they reproduce asexually. Multicellular organisms which reproduces asexually. Few of them are fungi. They reproduce through spores. Yeast and hydra through budding. Planaria through generation. Planaria is also called liver fluke. I will be studying in your animal kingdom chapter. Then comes filamentous algae, protonema of masses. These reproduce through fragmentation. What is true regeneration? A fragmented organism segments the lost part of its body and becomes a new organism. The only part which is fragmented would give rise to new organisms, similar to totipotent cells. Totipotent cells, as you know, the single meristematic cell which can give rise to whole plant organism. In the similar way, here the fragmented part gives rise to the whole organism. Next, unicellular organism. In unicellular organisms, reproduction is synonymous with growth. For example, in amoeba, increase in number of cells and growth are synonymous. You can't differentiate between these two. Next, you know that reproduction is a characteristic of living organism, but there are few exceptions. Those are mules, sterile worker bees, infertile human couple. Sterile worker bees, you will be studying regarding this in the second year, fifth lesson, principle of inheritance and variation, where you would be studying regarding the sex determination. That is important aspect for your theory examinations. Then comes infertile human couple. Infertile human couple generally can't fertilize, so it won't lead to pregnancy and so on. How can this be corrected? ART, Artificial Reproductive Technologies, which you will be studying in your fourth chapter of second year bio, Human Reproductive Health. Then, since there are exceptions, so you can't term reproduction as defining property. These are just the characters, reproduction and growth. Next to this, you will be studying defining characters. Those are metabolism, consciousness, and cellular organization. We'll come to metabolism. When it comes to metabolism, these are the chemicals being converted into biomolecules. This conversion is called as metabolism or chemical reaction. We know that thousands of metabolic reactions take place in living organisms. Sum total of all the chemical reactions occurring in our body is called as metabolism. This definition is important for theory. Sum total of all chemical reactions occurring in our body is called metabolism. And no non-living objects exhibits metabolism. Few reactions occur in vitro, but they are surely non-living reactions. So this is defining character of living organism. Then cellular organization. Metabolic reactions can be demonstrated outside the body in all free systems. Isolated metabolic reactions outside the body of an organism, that is test tube, is neither living or non-living. Isolated metabolic reactions are non-living things, but surely they are living reactions. So we can say that cellular organization is a defining characteristic of living organisms. Next to this is consciousness. The ability to sense the surroundings. You can say it is stimulus. It might be physical, chemical, or biological. And plants respond to external factors like light, water, temperature, pollutants. We will be studying regarding transpiration in plant physiology. When we come to plant physiology, we will study in depth. Next to this, human being is the only organism in this universe who can be aware of himself. That is, he has self-consciousness. Therefore, consciousness becomes defining property of a living organism. Next comes diversity in the living world. Biodiversity. What is biodiversity? The number of species or types of organisms present on Earth that are known is called as biodiversity. They range between 1.7 to 1.8 million. This is according to the old NCERT, so we need to follow the NCERT guidelines itself. So, why do we need nomenclature? What is nomenclature? Naming an organism with different sets of rules and regulations as termed. The reasons we need nomenclature, because there are millions of plants and animals in the world. We know the plants and animals in the particular area with their local names. These local names vary from place to place. So in order to sort all these problems and avoid confusion, we need to follow standard procedure called nomenclature. Nomenclature is the process by which we can correctly describe a particular plant or animal. There are two specific organizations, that is ICBN and ICZN. ICBN for plants, B botany, and ICZN Z for zoology. What does this stand for? ICBN, International Code for Botanical Nomenclature, and ICZN for animals, International Code for Zoological Nomenclature. We know that biologists follow universally accepted principles to scientific names to known organisms. What does this nomenclature contain? They contain two components, generic name and specific epithet. So, since they contain two components, the system of providing a name with two components is known as binomial nomenclature, if three words, trinomial, and so on. This binomial nomenclature system was introduced by Carolus Linnaeus. So we will take an example, Mangifera indica. Just note on something by seeing that word. You have two words written separately. On the left side you have generic name, and on the right side you have specific epithet. On the left side the first letter is written by capital letter, and the second word first letter is written by small letter. So what are the rules followed for nomenclature? Biological names are generally in Latin and written in italics. They are Latinized or derived from Latin irrespective of their origin. So you need to know the names are in Latin and they are written in italics. The next point, whatever their origin might be, they will be Latinized. As I already said, the first name represents the genus and the second specific epithet. Then the third point, both the words in biological name when handwritten are separately underlined. We need to underline both the words when they are handwritten, or we need to write it in italics to mark their Latin origin. Then fourth point and the last important rule, the first word denoting the genus starts with a capital letter while the specific epithet starts with a small letter. Example, Mangifera indica as given over there. Then comes name of the author appears after the specific epithet, that is at the end of the biological name written in an abbreviated form. Example, Mangifera indica Lin. This question had been already asked in 2018 or 17, I guess so. They had asked, right, they marked the wrong one. So you need to be careful while writing the scientific names, and you need to know all the four rules for binomial nomenclature, one of the most important aspects for competitive examinations. What does writing this scientist name indicate? It indicates that this species was first described by so and so. Here it is Mangifera indica Lin, so it was described by Linnaeus. Since it is impossible to study all living organisms, it is necessary to devise to make this possible. This process is called as classification. We need to classify so that the studying of particular organism, animals, etc. to make it in easier way and more systematic way. We'll study few terms related to classification. Taxa. It is a scientific term which marks the categories, which indicates categories at different levels. It might be kingdom, phylum, class, so on. Those are taxes. In the similar way, even plants have the taxa level. Hence, based on characteristics, all living organisms can be classified to different taxa. This process is called as taxonomy. Hence, what are the processes involved in taxonomy? The first step is characterization, then you need to identify, then classification and nomenclature. These are the processes involved in your taxonomy. So, here we have come across the characters, defining characters, biodiversity and the number of organisms, ICBN, IUZN, and then we have come across the rules for binomial nomenclature. Here I come with the end of part 1, so I'll be releasing the part 2 soon. Just go through my notes, that would be enough for you to score 300 plus out of 360, I assure you that. So the thing you need to do is just write down the points and make separate notes. In the end, this notes would be useful. In case if you need the PDF, I'll be releasing the PDF on 15th of October 2020. You can ping me on WhatsApp given below in the end. Thank you for watching my video. If you do like my video, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you. We'll meet you soon.